Good morning, guten Morgen, magandang umaga, konnichiwa, bonjour. So I know it's been a couple weeks since I've done a video, and I think that there's a lot to be said about that. Rather than making bold statements, I'd like to say that I hope that I set an example by what I do versus what I say. Because like you, I can have a tendency to be a hypocrite. That I have sincere intentions of how I would like to improve myself by doing certain things less or not doing them at all. But I'm not perfect. None of us are. And I'll give you an example. Last night I bought some Haribo gummy bears. And I've made this statement before. I shared this testimony before. But last night when I went to the Dollar Tree store, because I had to pick up a few things for work, I saw pineapple only, which is my favorite, but it's not real pineapple. I'm sure it's artificially flavored, but pineapple only gummy bears. And I snagged it. Now I know 100% that there's no nutritional value, that it has probably harmful colors in it, and it's not good for you, period. So it's like, I know this and I'll state this, but I went and bought it anyways because in my simpleton, not excusing it, but I'm like, I don't do this every single day, and that's my form of hypocrisy. Okay? So I'm just using that as an example. I don't exclude myself when I'm speaking about hypocrisy, okay? So I have my own things. So any event, where was I going with this? Now my nose is dripping. I'm not on YouTube often, making videos often now, because I'm completely aware that this is spiritual. It's not carnal. And even though I have the best of intentions sharing my own testimony, sharing my own walk and the things that I've learned and the wisdom that the Lord has given me, I also would like to display that in my own walk, I'm not led to try to wake people up, because I'm completely aware it's the Lord that knocks on their door. It's the Lord that calls out to their heart. It's not my carnal actions that make a difference, because I have witnessed to people and I have spoken truth to a few. And I notice in my own testimony is I see a glazed look. I see that the words are reaching their ears, but it's not reaching where they're going to be thinking about it later. And I've had examples where I've said something to someone who claims to be born again in Christ, following Jesus Christ, and they forgot that we had this conversation before, as if it never happened. So I know I wasn't being heard. I know that they didn't hear what I had to say. So in my own walk, I've personally witnessed, again, they don't have eyes to see and ears to hear. That doesn't mean I don't share my testimony, but it does mean that I have zero expectations and zero weight or frustration when it's not being heard. I have a heart of understanding that my testimony, there is a purpose and there is a reason, that when they're faced with their judgment and their testimony, Christ can say that the truth was spoken to you and you rejected it. And I'm not going to claim that I know that person's judgment, because I know that the Lord is merciful and I know that every knee shall bow. But I have faith and trust in the Lord, and my yoke is light, that I don't have the same expectations as I see other people who are trying so hard. They're trying so hard, and I can see that their heart is in it, and I can see their frustration, and I see how they're so sad that their family members especially are just not hearing what they have to say. And if you're not wise enough now to know that it obviously they will never hear it because their heart doesn't seek the truth, their heart is still in the world, and they've taken the mark spiritually. The mark spiritually right here, it's spiritual. It's nothing, there's not going to be a chip inserted in people's heads. It doesn't have anything to do with technology. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with the carnal. This is spiritual. The mark, the 666, or the spiritual mark on their forehead, is because they chose the world, they chose the lies, and they rejected Christ, which is the truth. That's the mark. That's like the mark in the right hand is spiritual. It's like an agreement, a shaking of the hand, or an oath, the hand over the heart. It's spiritual. There's nothing that has to be inserted because they've already taken the mark. You have a bunch of warm Christians who think that they love Jesus, they love a worldly Jesus, they don't know Jesus, they don't know the truth, and they think that I could see it coming, I'm just going to reject the chip in my hand. But it's like you've already chose to follow after the beast system because you believe the lies that the merchants of this world have sold to you. You've already taken that mark in a spiritual sense. You're committing spiritual adultery because you're listening to false lying spirits that are leading you. You're following the Antichrist spirit. So the Antichrist that people are waiting to be revealed, those of us who have eyes to see through every individual that's not born again in Christ. He's taken throne in their temple, not a physical temple. The Antichrist has risen in every single person that chooses to follow the lies of this world. I hope I plant a good seed. I love you. God bless.